Where is the third level? Animals. So that is how we start talking of animal consciousness. So, can you figure out what do you mean by animal consciousness? Ahara, nidra, maithun, bhayam. So, we talk about 4 basic instincts of animals. Need for safety, need to sleep, need for food, and for self-preservation or sexual pleasure. Are you with me, Brittany?
I am, yes.
Yes. So, lowest level, matter. Second level, evolution, matter plus life, plant kingdom. Third level, matter plus life plus consciousness, animal kingdom. Now, matter plus life plus consciousness. Should I add plus self-consciousness, human being? So, you got the answer? Human beings have self-consciousness. Animals do not have it. Say, for example, if the tiger has the self-consciousness, then they will see you and they will tell, oh, Whitney seems to be very tasty. I have to reorganize and I have to put her into. Then you can complete the sentence. So what is the simple answer? We have the intellect that has a ability to observe, make a choice and control. Even plants have the consciousness. They do not have the necessary instruments. Animals have the consciousness. They do not have the intellect they observe, but they do not have an intellect to make a choice and to control. Did you get the answer?
I think so. I'm working on...
Think, listen to it again and again. Matters. You see the lowest level. Let me complete the entire yoga with this. Lowest level, matter, material kingdom. We say in yoga, sat. In English, we say existence. Clear? Now the evolution continued. You add a life into it. No, you didn't add, but existence added. So, matter plus life is plant kingdom. Right? Now the third level, matter plus life plus consciousness. This consciousness is equal to animal kingdom. Why? That is why we say animal kingdom, animal consciousness. 4 basic instincts. The tiger do not have a choice to become completely vegetarian until we force them. Why they don't have a choice? They don't have an intellect. They are not self-conscious being. We are self-conscious being. That is why I say I am a complete vegan. What you were eating before? I was a cannibal before. No, I'm just giving an example.
Okay, so I got that, and that's kind of what I thought, was that you have to know
that
you're suffering.
Yes, that very...
to overcome that.
Yeah, that very... That's what I thought. Yes, that very self-consciousness is absent. Another way to answer it.
So then...
Another way to answer it. How do you open your computer? You switch on the button and the window appears and then you connect to me. You don't do any hard work to connect to me. You simply click. Computer opens. You click again and we are in a virtual session. Why we say? Because it is programmed in the computer. Did you understand it? Now,
yes.
Animal consciousness is programmed by the nature. They do not have a choice because intellect is not there.
So then my other part of my question,
yeah,
talking about mind is working on, or you're working on the mind. So then obviously we're in the physical body. So then, I guess, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to word the question, but would you say then that, if we've reached the ultimate enlightenment and like the ultimate taming of our mind, we wouldn't be held back by physical limitations for like sleep and food and chemical imbalance and things like that. You were talking about, if you're, if you're tired while we're talking, that's the mind controlling you, right? So then what you were saying then would be that, if we ultimately had complete control of our mind, we wouldn't be afflicted by physical needs. Is that accurate or no?
Two-part answer. First part, the body is a matter, so it should follow the laws of matter. First part. But if it doesn't follow the laws of a matter because the mind is ruling the matter, when the mind is ruling the matter because of identification and attachment, so yoga says, tell the mind, don't misuse the body. So when you don't misuse the body, then what happens? The body works with the material laws governing them in the best possible way. Having said that, when I say that this body follows the material law, it does not mean that you don't need food. But then the mind makes a right choice because now the mind is pure. The mind doesn't make a choice based on its attachment and clinging, but mind makes a right choice. What is the best for the body?
Okay.
You got it?
Thank you.
There are a lot of
Yes,
things. That's a good questions coming up. So let us continue our journey of Yoga Sutra. Yes, you are free to ask. Yoga Sutra commentator. I was discussing about Vyasa. Vyasa has written all the principles, all the sutras. And you see the beauty? Say, if two people, if I become the best-selling author, and then the John says how I should compete you. But that was not the case in the ancient times with our masters. Vyasa wrote all the principles, including what is written in the Yoga Sutra. And when Patanjali Yoga Sutra was written by the Patanjali, Vyasa said, wow, you have written only 195 formulas that covers everything of yoga, which is scattered in more than 3,000 texts. You have done a marvelous work. So Vyasa then was inspired, no, I have to write a commentary to make common people clear how Patanjali Yoga Sutra compressed all the entire knowledge of yoga, meditation, liberation, freedom, cause of suffering, mind, functional aspects of the mind, and a long list. So for two reasons, we must study the commentary by Vyasa, because he, in fact, is the originator. And then he praised and appreciated the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and then he gave the commentary. Do you see the beauty? So it means our intellect should be used to understand what Vyasa has commented on it. Rather than we should find our own meaning. Right? So this Vyasa was a great master. Whether you say it is 195 or 196, we have some manuscripts found earlier, maybe 700 or 800 years back. There, some manuscript contains 196 sutras, and normally we say it contains 195 sutras. Did I cover? There are 4 chapters of freedom. We discussed before there are 4 chapters of the freedom. The first chapter is known as Samadhi Pada. Pada means chapter. Samadhi means the highest state of mind meditation. So he did not beat about the bush here and there. No, let me guide you first asana. A lot of people say, no, I have been practicing asana for how long? 15 years. Why? To prepare myself for meditation. Does that make sense? I have been practicing asana for 15 years. Why I'm preparing myself for meditation. No, I'm totally obsessed, identifies with my body. And yoga says, de-identify yourself with the body is the way of yoga. It doesn't mean that you are not practicing asana. You are doing it, but there is no identification. So the first chapter covers all about mind, how to enter into the meditation, what exactly is the meditation, how to become a seeker, what exactly is the real self, how you progress into meditation, what are the obstacles and hindrances in the path of the meditation. First chapter. The second chapter. Second chapter explains, I told you, Kriya Yoga and 8-limbed path. Kriya Yoga, how many limbs? Only 3. Tapaswadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. I'm completing, I have already written a textbook commentary on this Yoga Sutra, but I'm redrafting and editing it. So it will be available maybe after 2 or 3 months. Not to become a bestseller. I'm writing for myself, my own satisfaction. So, second chapter, as I have explained you, it covers the 2 different approaches of yoga. So it means Patanjali explains the 3 different approaches to yoga. First chapter, come on, start with the highest level of yoga. Second, you have a lot of challenges with your mind, emotions. Brittany, I'm answering that question in a different way. So you have a lot of challenges, do Kriya Yoga first, and then go into meditation. Remove all the kleshas, suffering. No, I don't understand what you are saying. Start with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. I want to give another answer by asking a question. Why it is so that there are 50 students of one teacher, one student succeeds instantly in meditation, second finds little calmness and relaxation, and the other do not find any result? Because they who do not find any result, they have to follow the 8-limbed path. Those who succeeded a little bit, they have to understand Kriya Yoga. And those who succeeded, they are understanding the first chapter, the first pada. Did you get it? So the third chapter explains, Bethany, for you specifically, what are the extraordinary changes takes place in the mind by regular practice of yoga, and how to bring about extraordinary changes in the mind by doing a specific practice of meditation. Third chapter. And the fourth chapter, more or less, it covers what exactly is awakening, what exactly is nirvana, what is moksha, means enlightenment, what it is. How these seekers who achieve that state and how they live, how they talk, how they work. Whitney, are you listening? Your previous questions are answered.
Yes, thank you.
So you see that? So we are Sutra. I think I've covered a lot on Sutra. So let me. The first chapter contains 51 sutras. First chapter contains 51 sutras. Let me and pay attention every time, even if I miss this process, tell me you are missing this process, explain it again. So Patanjali, I don't remember the number of the sutra, and once I remember I'll tell you. But he explains Shabd Arth Jnana. He says Shabda means word in the sutra, Arth means meaning, and Jnana means knowledge. So he says you have to understand, first you have to know how to recite this sutra. Means singing and the listening, those words should vibes in your ears. Word. Second, we should know the meaning. But third, we should know what is that knowledge hidden in that Yoga Sutra. How beautiful. How beautiful. I translate the entire because, it's a little deeper. I translate that into 5I. First is information. Second is inspiration. Third is interaction. Fourth is implementation, means practice. Fifth is the insight. When you practice meditation, then you get a deeper insight. Oh, this is it. Insight is non-verbal communication of the mind. Why it is non-verbal? At a higher state of the consciousness, the mind doesn't work with the words and the thoughts and thinking. It works directly with the higher consciousness. You get a glimpse, you get a flash, you get an insight.
Girish, will you please repeat those 5?
Information, inspiration, interaction, implementation, insight. That's how I take it.
Thank you.
So, in a modern way. Process is the same, but I'm just giving the modern way, and even if you teach others, that will make a sense to them. Because, the old Sanskrit words and the phrases may not make a sense. Clear? So let us move further with 51 sutras. Interaction, the seeker. Yes, that also. J. Krishnamurti. Are you aware of J. Krishnamurti? A lot of these so-called teachers who teaches choiceless awareness, What they teach, something, here and now. What is that? Here and now. So all they are the, I would say they might have read J. Krishnamurti, who teaches about choiceless awareness. But he made one big. Yes. J. Krishnamurti was one of the great teachers. And when he reached to the state of enlightenment, then he rejected the authority of yoga because he realized if he says to himself that if I talk about yoga, people will continue to misunderstand. So he never came down from his level of enlightenment. And he always talked of the choiceless awareness. So he made he spoke one thing. Once you reach to the enlightenment, then you always walk alone. Now, do you misunderstand this phrase, walk alone? You are living in the material world with people, with relations, with everyone, but internally, nothing touches you. How it is possible? You stand before the mirror and get out of the mirror. Does the mirror keeps your impression, keeps your image, keeps the weight of your body? Are you understanding? You stand before the mirror. You see your image. Clear? Brandy, do you see the weight, your weight of the body in the mirror? What? Do you see the weight also in the mirror? Mirror does not carry any weight, any size, any color. You get out of sight of the mirror. Mirror says, I'm okay. Can I reach to that state of the mind? Whitney, can you reach to that state of the mind? One way to understand what exactly is enlightenment. You are working with everything as it is. No worries. But the quality of your thought, your speech, your action changes. So we say it brings an end to the suffering. We'll continue to talk about it. So before going to again the sutra, we should understand a couple of more things, the basics. Traditionally, in all he or she is also listening from me, Yoga Sutra. Perhaps she will also got enlightenment. So we don't say philosophy, as it is known as philosophy. We use the word darshan. Darshan. What is that darshan means? Darshan means right perception. Darshan. Not philosophy. Yes, darshan, or we may write it like this, darshan. That would be appropriate, darshan. Why darshan? Darshan, another meaning of the darshan is to make you understand knowing self by self. Now, remember and recall, sense organs are the instruments of knowledge to know the material world. Mind is an instrument of knowledge to know the phenomena of the material world, where the science and its knowledge comes. And then what I said before, Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge to transcend the mind, to know the self. So what is darshan? Knowing the self by the self. Knowing your real self by the self. Not by the sense organs in the mind. That is what is known as darshan. Now what is philosophy? It is the love of logic, love of reason, love of intellect. So entire philosophical knowledge in the Western world comes from intellect. Darshan comes from what is beyond intellect. That is why we use the word darshan. So yog darshan, we say yog darshan. We don't say yog philosophy. Are you getting it? Darshan. Darshan. When you close all your sense organs, is it possible to know that you are here? Even if you close your eyes, you know you are here. You feel that presence, isn't it? So we don't need sense organs to know I am. Are you clear? Even if you don't say any word, you don't speak any word through the mind, still you know you are. Isn't it? Still you know you are. That you are is the real self. Discovery of that you is the journey of yoga. So here we go opposite to a great philosopher who said, I think, therefore I am. It is a silly and a crazy statement. Because the entire philosophy in the West is based on the intellect. So in that reference he is right. I think. First I have to think, then I am. No. First I am, then I think. Isn't it? So, Whitney, you have to find, without thinking, is there I am or not? Then you will understand the difference between the working of consciousness in the animal and the human. So when we say darshan, you understand that? Now darshan, and understand, it is a right perception. One, and it is a direct perception. I'm summarizing all in a different, in the first 2 or 3 sessions, and then we will pick up sutra by sutra, so that you have a very strong background to understand. Now another meaning of darshan. It is experiential. What does it mean by direct perception? I am seeing you, John. Is it direct perception? I am seeing you, Brandy. Is it direct perception? No. My sense organs, mind going through the sense organ, have an indirect perception of you, because a sense organ have come in between. Are you getting it? And the mind has come in between. Now get rid of the sense organ, get rid of the mind. Consciousness will remain there. And that consciousness, when it sees Brandy, the Brandy becomes me. I become Brandy. I become Lara. Lara becomes me. Kate becomes me. It does not become me. I see there is only one consciousness pervading everywhere. Are you getting it? Brandy, name, form, gender. Who perceives it? Sense organ. Who understands its mind? Now there is no sense organ, there is no mind, but still consciousness is there. But then there is no difference between consciousness here and there. There is no time, there is no place, there is no location. Is that the meaning of transcending the mind? Yes. Don't take it philosophically. Don't make it that it will come after 10 years of practice of meditation. It is already here and now. Am I a seeker? I'm crazy, so I'm making your mind also crazy to go deeper. See that? This is the real meaning of darshan. So now you understand the philosophy and darshan. We have yoga darshan, we have sankhya darshan, we have sankhya darshan. Sankhya darshan, you can claim it jnana yoga, the path of knowledge of yoga. We have bhakti darshan, we have knowledge of yoga of love, bhakti darshan, yoga of knowledge, sankhya yoga, or we sometimes say uttar mimamsa. Are you getting it? That is the biggest difference, and once we do not understand that difference, so every sutra, every principle points to that direct perception. So now see the other part, just to cover a brief and then we will continue. Now we have a direct perception. So for the sake of communication, convenience, I see only for the sake of communication and language, interaction in the material world, I say you are Kate, you are there and I am here. But internally I experience constantly, consciously, that we both are essentially one. Timelessness in time. Beyond the name and the form. So then if you say Buddha is full of compassion, you are wrong. But it is in a language we say it, but otherwise you are wrong. Why you are wrong? When I see you, there is no difference between you and me. How can I hurt you? When the tongue is hurt by the teeth, you don't bring a hammer. I will teach you a lesson. So then there is an overflowing of that love, because we are not two. How can your right hand hurt the left hand? No way. Why? Because we experience that oneness, one reality. And it comes by darshan. And that is why we use the word darshan. But every time you should use the word philosophy, but keep in your mind that you are pointing something deeper. That is why I cover this word darshan. Yeah, let me pick up one more principle. Remember 4H. Do you know the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism? Four Noble Truths. There is a dukkha, there is a suffering, yeah? There is a cause of the suffering, there is an absence of suffering, and there is a method. Right? Right? Remember 4H. 4H coming from the Eastern wisdom which Buddha has modified. So why I say 4H? You will find these 4 words frequently in Patanjali. So what is the first word? Heya. Heya means what is suffering. Hetu, what is the cause of the suffering. Han, what is the absence of suffering. Hanupaya. Vivek khyati viplava hanupaya in the second sutra. So what he says, when the mind lives in the highest state of discernment and dispassion, what happens? That is the method to bring an end to all the suffering. So I'm using the 4th word, 4th H, hanopaya. Here, what is suffering? Hetu, what is the cause of the suffering? What is the absence of suffering is Han. So what is the method? Hanopaya. These 4 principles are everywhere. Almost directly or indirectly you will find in majority of the text, including Patanjali. One I instantly remember, Vivek Khyatir Viplava Hanopaya. Hanopaya means method. So what is the method? He says when the mind lives in the highest state of discernment and dispassion. That is the method. So what is discernment? Discernment in yoga, in Eastern wisdom we say viveka, and dispassion we say avairagya. Do you see this beard guy is different and separate from you? Obviously, you see that separation at the physical level. That is how you communicate. That is how you become the listener and I become the speaker. So that separation, when our mind separates through knowledge and understanding, that is known as discernment. The word is used viveka by the Patanjali in the 2nd chapter and also in the 3rd chapter. He also uses frequently. These words, he uses frequently. Heyam dukham anagatam. Heyam. Heya hetu. In the second, that is perhaps the 16th sutra of the 2nd chapter. Heyam dukham anagatam. What he is saying? Yoga can avoid or eliminate sorrow and the suffering in the future if you practice yoga. If you practice headstand for 6 hours, all your sorrows will come to an end. No, it is important, but I'm not saying it is not. But you have to drop that wrong notion. Heyam dukham anagatam. It's a beautiful. When I sing it, I say, oh, this is yoga. And what is the cause of all the suffering? we will take it little deeper in our next week. This drashya drashyayo sanyogo heya hetu. What is the cause of the suffering? Cause of is identification. For you, when my mind identifies with the body, and I suffer. When my mind identifies with likes and dislikes, I suffer. When I build a strong ego, then I suffer. The reason for all the suffering is identification of the seer and the seen. Drashya drashyayo sanyogo heya hetu. No? So, I picked up these 4 words. That's why you'll find many. Tasya hetur avidya. So now, what is the cause of all the suffering? We will take it in a little deeper. Today we are going in a lighter mode. So Sutra number perhaps 24 or 25. So what is the cause of all the suffering? Tasya hetur avidya. The cause of identification is ignorance. You remove the ignorance and you live into that state of compassion, that state of peace, that state of happiness, which is already there. 24th, yeah. Second 20th. Tasya hetur avidya. And pick up a little also Hanam. So Hanam tad bhavat sanyoga bhavo Hanam tad drashe kaivalyam. So even in defining and explaining the state of enlightenment, Patanjali is using Hanam. Hanam means the absence, I told you. Tad bhavat sanyoga bhavo hanam tad drashe kaivalyam. When the seer and the seen are separated, after the removal of ignorance, nirvana or kaivalyam or enlightenment is attained. I will take it in a leap. So I'm just explaining how these 4 words are explained beautifully. You see now that is lacking in the philosophy or darshan of Buddhism. Because they are not frequently, they have just explained, these are the 4 noble truths. And then what happens? People forget this 4 noble truths and they say, focus on the breath, close your eyes, mindfulness is done, I am enlightened. That is not the way. That is not the journey. We have to follow step by step. Tad bhavat sanyogo, I think 24th or 25 is there. Maybe it's the sutra. So understanding heya. Heya means what is suffering, what is the cause of what is the suffering first. My honey is crazy and I start blaming my honey, but I am suffering. And my honey is enjoying a good sleep. My honey is not aware that I am blaming and complaining. Do you see that? This is yoga psychology. Now you go to a psychiatrist. Okay. Your honey was sleeping and when you are blaming, he's totally remorse, he doesn't have any feeling. You have to think of divorce. Now, I'm just citing an example. That is normally possible. Heyam dukham, yeah. Do you see that? So I'm pointing you, yoga is a study to study yourself. Simple answer. I have to study myself. Why I'm not happy? With you or without you? in both the cases. Am I happy with you? Because, Whitney, my mind is free from attachment and ignorance. I am happy without you because mind has no attachment. You asked me very interesting questions. So now let me know if you have questions until now. And then we will take a break for 15 minutes before we will meet with the Gita. Oh yeah, I have to give an introduction to Gita also. Yeah. So tell me if you have any question.
I have a question, Girish.
Yes.
So, I've heard it said in some of the study that I've had in the past in philosophy. Yoga philosophy.
Yeah.
Through Yoga Alliance, but in right that actually to study from the first pada for most people doesn't make sense. That actually beginning the study in the second pada for most people makes the sutras more accessible. Is that an accurate statement?
100% wrong statement. Because I'm not a seeker. We have a proverb, Bandar kya jane adrak ka swad. So I'm going to translate into English. Monkey is there. So how the monkey can know the taste of a ginger? You see the proverb? So proverb means if I do not know the goal of yoga, the ultimate goal of yoga, then I skip the first pada. And then I get caught in. And it is in Hindi. Proverb is not in Sanskrit. I will write down. So you understand that? So, or you can say American proverb, ignorance is bliss. I suffer in that bliss. Or you can say a little knowledge is dangerous. Or you can say jack of all trades, master of none. Ask our Dr. Fauci to study Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Fauci will make a sense only in the second pada because there are some physical practices explained. See that. But if I do not understand clearly what exactly Patanjali is saying in the very first chapter, how can I move to the second chapter? I'm not saying from my own. It is all about the journey.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Can I ask about that? Okay, so I totally agree with what you're saying. I'm not. However, sometimes if the mind is clouded, or if there's a suffering that's not necessarily can be accessed by the brain, or because there's suffering, there's knowledge is wrong. Can they access through the practice, and then the continued practice of mindfulness or meditation as laid out?
Yes. Understanding how the mindfulness is, what the mindfulness is, and then they should practice. You see that can the body demand consciously? Body is a matter. It is an unconscious entity. It is matter. So ultimately, we have to do anything first by knowledge. That I covered yesterday. First is the knowledge. Mind has a desire and body has an action. Three entities, roughly you can say. So first I must have a knowledge. Now do I have a right knowledge or not? So that right knowledge is given by Patanjali. Now I have a right knowledge. The mind has a lot of desire, the right knowledge and the wrong desire. So now the intellect understands, oh, here is the problem. Blame, complain game, I am blaming even if the other is 100% wrong. But my mind is complaining, it means mind has a desire.
I gotcha. But sometimes suffering is so acute that they can't access the mind.
That is why we have modern psychology. That is why we have modern medicine. That is the simple answer. I studied anxiety neurosis has 50 causes. Perhaps on WebMD. And the 52nd cause, the doctor says causes are unknown. Then why the hell you have written 51 causes? No, my simple question is, I'm not going against. It is helpful. It is remarkable. But when I am a seeker, I have to find the ultimate cause. And now go to find the cause of a cancer. They will say died, this and that. And ultimately they say causes are still unknown.
No, hang on, one more question though. Because sometimes suffering person into a place of surrender, is that still the same, and so then they become a seeker only because the suffering is acute and they're surrendering. Is that this?
Yes. We talk about 4 types of seekers. 4 types of seekers. First, who are suffering and they say, can I get a remedy? Come on, do practice of meditation. They did it, they found relaxation and they are gone. They throw the yoga once they are relaxed. So they approached yoga because they were suffering. Second level of the seeker, they want to benefit from it. They have a desire sense with the yoga. It's the second level. Third level is academic. Let me understand. I will never practice, but now I understand yoga. I am still suffering. Third level. So they also do not change. They are also not the right seekers. And the fourth level, they do not only want to know, they want to practice, they want to reach to the ultimate reality.